YouTube really quick so that I can mod the chat.
Okay.
Wait, how are you doing that?
How am I doing what?
How is she connecting to YouTube to mod the chat? Like, what does that mean?
Oh, I don't know.
No. I mean, I logged in, like, but I don't know how to mod the chat through StreamYard.
Yeah, oh, maybe that's what she meant. She's going to log in somewhere else. So she can still.
Oh, like on another device.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, wait, sorry. Hold on. I'm connecting my YouTube. Give me one sec.
Hey, Kelly. Hello, hello.
Okay, yay. I'm connected to my YouTube now. We are good. I'm like anxious to watch this.
Man, you have no idea. You have no idea. My husband is fighting with Moo, just in case y'all wanted to know. He's in here trying to kill him so he can bring him outside, and the cat is literally running around the office like, you're not killing me. And so now, yeah. So, hello. Hey, Angel. Hello. All right, guys. So you, Pink, haven't watched the Candace Owens live from yesterday.
I have not, but just based off the rundown that you gave me, I'm anxious.
First of all, I'm not going to play the whole live. Well, maybe I will later, but her literally linking Liberty University to all of this. Now, you know, Liberty University is the university that Charlie was attending, that Erica attended and got all her degrees out of, Tyler Boyer, all of them from Turning Point. And she goes on to talk about this girl who ended up getting pregnant when she was younger, and they sent her to a program that was offered by Liberty University to take in young pregnant women. And this is her story. She's on a phone call with Candace Owens. And this is her story to Candace. And man, when I heard it last night, I literally was crying. I was literally crying. It was wild. So let me play this. And this is her conversation.
When I got to the Liberty Godparent Home, which is what took me in in the 90s.
God, I'm going to go ahead a little bit just so you guys can get the explanation.
In a bit of trouble. She wound up world. Hence why I was not exactly seeing the big picture. She doesn't know Erica. She had nothing to say about how Erica knew Trump pageants, but her speaking about it was triggering for her. Anyways, after a lot of back forth, I decided to just call her. I had some time yesterday to see what Trump pageantry in general was triggering to her. And she began to tell me a story that was quite unbelievable.
Yes,
at first, until I did some research. This woman, whose identity I'm going to protect at this moment, was a young teenager in the 90s, and she had landed herself in a bit of trouble. She wound up with a probation officer, and she also got pregnant, and they essentially told her, hey, you know, you're either going to get your life together, sort of this ultimatum, we could send you to juvie, or you could go away and we'll give you an opportunity here. There's this amazing new program that's being run out of Liberty University, which helps troubled teens, which you are a troubled teen. She was 13 at this time. So obviously they made the decision for her to take the option. It's like when the judge says, hey, you can go to rehab or you can go to prison. Obviously, I'm going to go to rehab. So she chose to go down to Lynchburg, Virginia, while she was pregnant, to live in a house with other troubled girls who were being helped through a program that was known as the Godparent Program. It still is a thing today. Effectively, they help these young women on who are struggling with various other things, but particularly with her and the women that she was sharing rooms with, their pregnancy journey. And they offer to help place their children into adoptive Christian homes should they choose not to keep their children. Sounds nice enough. That seems like, the Christian spirit, pro-life, and don't have an abortion. Instead, we can have a home for your child to be raised in. But things got pretty weird after that. And I want you to listen to what she told me in this conversation, which I recorded. And yes, I have her permission to share this conversation. I'm sorry if this sounds, not too clear. We tried to make it as clear as possible. And let's just roll it. It's going to be quite long, but it's very important. Take a listen.
Man.
When I got to the Liberty Godparent home, which is what took me in 94, they used to lock us in our room 24 hours a day. We were locked in our room. We weren't allowed visitors.
Well, mind you, she was 13,
people at
14
our
at
home.
the time.
I didn't have no visitors because I didn't have any family there, of course. And I'm shaking.
You
I
can
didn't have
hear.
no family there, so I didn't have nobody. They used to take weird pictures of us.
How old were you?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
How old were you?
I had to be 13, 14.
Okay, and who took pictures?
79.
Who took pictures of you?
Senior. And then his face looked familiar, but he looked older now. And you're talking 30 years ago,
Mm-hmm. But Jerry Falwell Sr. was the one actually taking the photos?
Yeah, I remember him and his wife there. But another thing weird about it is I never thought about, what happened the morning I delivered my baby. Everything was weird. And I think about it now, it's all weird to me. But then it wasn't, because I was only 13, 14 years old.
Right.
I made mistakes. I mean, I totally turned my life around. I have 4 kids now, 2 grandbabies, but,
I want to go back to, so what was weird about that night that you gave birth?
Oh gosh, the night before. Okay, so they have a live-in mother, 24 hours. I called there like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. This is what's weird. I called there right after I prayed. I called there because this video of Erica came up with Trump, and you have to get invited. And I was like, how in the world did I get invited? And to this day, I still don't know how in the world I got invited to that. And what pictures they had of me.
Interesting.
Now I'm mistaken again.
Okay. Okay, so you had the baby, and what was weird about that night?
Okay, the night before like I said, they have house mothers, and I can't remember details, but I remember them doing, putting the probe on, listening to the heartbeat pretty much, and looking at, doing ultrasound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to this day, I've had 4 other kids, plenty of ultrasounds, so I know what they were doing was funny to me, because everything was fine that night. And then they moved me, which was weird. They moved me to another room by myself.
Okay.
At that time, I had another girl with me. There's all these different girls there, and some of them don't even speak English. Okay.
How old are how many girls live in that house?
Back then there was about between 12 and 15 in one house, but you're talking anywhere from age 12 to 21 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I think at that time I was the youngest, but.
And some of them didn't speak English?
Yeah, there was a couple girls, they didn't speak English, but we weren't allowed to, that's another thing, we weren't allowed to talk to the other girls. We were only allowed, certain girls were on one certain side of the hallway, certain girls were on the other certain side of the hallway.
I just want to interrupt here and think about that. This girl was 13 years old, and you're locked in your room, pregnant. Think of the psychological damage that happens to these girls. That to me that's wild.
back then we had to either call collect or use quarters.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
On a payphone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't allow us to use the regular phones.
Mm-hmm.
They treated us like slaves. But the next morning, it's like they knew something was going to happen to my baby or something, because the next morning I all of a sudden didn't have a heartbeat and I had to go in. But the strange thing about it is their daughter, this is another thing I thought about, their daughter is a high doctor at the Liberty or at some university, some hospital in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Okay.
So I checked on that, and that is true. The daughter, Falwell's daughter, is a doctor, is a director in one of the hospitals. She is a doctor.
Oh my God.
And back then, if I remember correctly, their daughter was like one of the house mothers.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if their daughter was like my nurse or nurse lady and gave me something to miscarry, because, see, the thing is they coerced us to give up the baby because they got money for the adoption. It was some kind of adoption ring. I didn't know nothing about it. Okay. But my thing was that I kept telling them, no, I wanted to keep my baby because I had a 3-year-old nephew and I had took care of him. I thought I could mother. It wasn't for me. Okay. I was too young. Okay. But still, I have questions because now I keep seeing stuff and I'm like, why are all these videos coming up on my feeds for no reason, you know?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you saying that you miscarried the baby?
Yeah. But I was further along and they kept telling me I had to hurry up and make up my mind and make up my decision because I'm running out of time. I have to hurry it up. And I'm like, why do I have to hurry it up?
Hurry what up? Hurry what up?
Decide if I want to adopt the baby out. They kept showing me folders of people's faces. Would you like your baby to be with this person, or would you like to go raise your baby somewhere else or on the street? Or
okay, and then here's a question for you: how far along were you when you miscarried?
I was asking my mom that, and truthfully, I have called down there to find myself, to find dates out, and I can't even find myself actually in their system. That's another thing that's weird.
That's very scary.
I've called down there this past few weeks just to find out information on myself. I even called my own probation officer, which he called me back last night. He was actually telling me information, and he told me, back then, I wasn't a bad kid. I just skipped school because I stayed home and slept in. My mom got in trouble for it. I went in juvie for it. I'm sorry. But
wait, but I just want to stick to the story of just to stay focused. You don't know how pregnant you were when you had a miscarriage?
Well, I can tell you I was probably they had to induce the labor. Okay. I had to deliver. So if that tells you I was over 3-4 months. Yeah. I was over.
The worst freaking state to live in right now is Virginia, and nobody's talking about.
So let me tell you what is really interesting about this particular conversation. Liberty University is involved. And you hear she broke down crying several times throughout the conversation. There was obviously real pain there. And what's really interesting is that she told me thereafter that while she can pull all of her court records, Liberty University is sort of like, it's all electronic now. You're talking about the 90s. We can't find you. We can't find you. You had a baby in a house when you were 13 years old and we can't find you. By the way, where's the baby buried? I asked that question to her. And she said what happened after she gave birth was they called her mom and they said that she's got to go. I said, how do you know the baby was dead? You're telling me they moved you into a room and they induced labor after you said, I don't want to give up my child. They induced labor. They told you, a child, that yourself, that there was no heartbeat mysteriously right after you made the decision that you didn't want to give up your child for adoption. You felt like you were being pressured. Now there's no heartbeat. They induce labor. You never see your son. That she said she had a son. She never saw anything. They tell your mom she's got to pick you up ASAP. That's what she goes on to tell me, because they didn't want the other young women to be traumatized learning that she had a miscarriage. So in the middle of the night, her mom drives up and picks her up. Funeral? Is there a headstone? What happens when there's a induced labor at Liberty University? This is unbelievable. Now, why she was triggered when she heard Erica speaking about Trump pageantry, to connect that dot for you, is because Erica had said, you have to submit your pictures. Well, she goes back home. She's still a teenager. And 2 years later, she gets an invite to join Trump pageant world. But she doesn't know how they got her picture. She doesn't know how they got her picture. She wasn't taking pictures. She wasn't trying to be in pageant world. And so that's what triggered her and went, wait a second, how did they get my picture? Why were they taking these weird pictures? She never said that they were sexual, by the way. I'm sure they probably said to her at the time at that house, like, so that we can submit your picture to the Christian adoptive families, whatever it is. But it sort of clicked to her that that's kind of odd that I got this invitation to join Trump pageant world. Now, for those of you who have followed our Epstein series, we spoke about this. Xavier Poussard showed that this was one of his mechanisms. Jeffrey Epstein, Israel's guy, would go find organizations where there were tons of young women that were coming through, and he would pump money into them, like Victoria's Secret, and maybe some trafficking happened, right? By the way, the history of pageantry, for those of you that don't know, it's child sex trafficking. It's the Carneys, it's P.T. Barnum and Bailey in America. What was going on at carnivals, historically speaking, it was very dark stuff.
So that is that woman's story about this house or organization associated with Liberty University. And then I was so upset by that because this woman, she called him up. There's no information on her, no files, no nothing. She doesn't know, no death certificate. Like a baby dies, you deliver a baby dies, and you can't find a death certificate. That's public record. Nothing. And that is just disturbing.
I think I'm under the assumption after hearing this that there's a chance the baby didn't actually die.
Exactly. And to think about it, the girl's 13 years old. She's like, I don't even know how far along I was. Like, how traumatic. First of all, it's traumatic for a 13-year-old to be pregnant anyway. That situation in and of itself is an adult situation that a child's handling. You lock them in rooms. They can't talk to each other. You do an ultrasound. All of a sudden, you're poking and prodding around. You're taking pictures of this girl. I know her baby needs to be delivered. You tell her it's dead, and then you kick her out in the middle of the night and make her mother come up there in the middle of the night to go pick her up. And now
this
she
sounds
calls
like an American Horror Story.
Honestly, she calls there as an adult now, and they've got no files. First of all, if you're an organization who provides medical care, and if you're doing ultrasounds and delivering babies and inducing babies in this house, then you have to be considered a medical organization. Where is the death certificate? And where is your charting? Where is all your information on her? There's no way you can tell me that this organization runs and delivers babies in a house that is not monitored by the state or doesn't have to have any files, or that's just crazy to me. So she can't find out anything about this baby. You can hear the shaking in that woman's voice. I heard her physically shake. I could feel her shaking just by hearing her voice. How disturbing is it? And then you go down, y'all don't do it. Don't do it, because you go down the Liberty University rabbit hole. And I have been up all night and all morning going down the Liberty University rabbit hole. And honestly, it's disgusting. And
Dude,
this
I've
is
been in that rabbit hole for a long time. Let me tell you.
Honestly, like I think, first of all, the fact that you knew who this guy was, like I never heard of him. Like I never heard of, what's his name? Falwell?
Jerry Falwell.
Yeah.
So, they have these big rallies for youth at Liberty University. And that was actually where I was first introduced to that organization, that name, those people. Was a It's kind of like a like Christian music festival kind of thing for teens, and they do like preaching and prayer, but they'll have like like bigger name Christian praise and worship artists come to like entertain throughout, the several days. It's I want to say it was called Winterfest. I might be wrong about that, because I know there was like a winter jam and a winter fest, but it was like a festival where they would book hotels for the youth group. We would stay for like 3 days and we would go and see these events. And so, yeah, that was my first introduction at like, I don't know, 16 years old.
Man, that's just what. See, I had no idea. I'm not gonna lie. I had absolutely no idea. And while I'm Christian, I'm Catholic, and so I've always been to and listen, Catholic churches have their own thing. I'm not going to sit there and be like, you know what I mean? So, but I never really went to Christian churches that weren't Catholic, and so these organizations and like that whole thing, I knew nothing about it until recently. And I'm not going to lie, I watched this yesterday and I'm like, Liberty University, like I know Liberty University. So then I went in and I put this whole Falwell guy, and you start looking into him and his son, and guys, it is a rabbit hole of all rabbit holes. And you know what it makes me question? Now, again, Erica Kirk is tied to Liberty University, right? That's where she got her degrees, right? Tyler Boyer, Turning Point USA, they're all tied to it. Charlie Kirk, they're all tied to it. A lot of people are tied to it. I absolutely believe that this university is not really a university, in my opinion. I do believe that they're into all of this crap.
Well, it's a private religious university. You know what I mean? They're not teaching the same academic curriculum as, a state college would, or even a community college. I mean, this is just another form of indoctrination, except for people are paying for it under the guise of receiving an education, but they're being brainwashed.
Yes, it's, man, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to Christianity. And again, I'm speaking as a Christian, all right? Just because somebody talks about God in the Bible and what you doesn't mean you should follow these people. And that's what's so concerning to me. This whole Liberty University, the whole rape thing, they were sued, and there were whistleblowers that came out because the women who were raped on campus were urged not to report the rapes. There was actually a whole bit, went down that rabbit hole. There, I looked into it, and they were literally had a lawsuit going on, and because they were discouraging and dismissing students for reporting sexual assaults. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, you're Christian, so you're saying that it's okay for men to rape women, and it's what, anti-Christian to report it? Because y'all get caught out there?
I think, unfortunately, in patriarchal systems and societies such as the Christian church, women are taught from a very young age to submit to the men in their households, to submit to men in the church, to submit to men in general. And what that breeds is a culture of women who protect these men, protect abusers, protect pedophiles, because they're groomed themselves from a very young age to do so.
Yes. Yeah. It's, I'm trying to read here. So apparently Jerry Falwell Jr., who took over for Senior, he also had some sexual scandal happening. And then ended up suing the school for $14 million, which was crazy. The school was hit with a $14 million fine for not reporting the crimes. They are receiving $770 million annually from government sources. So that's our government saying, hey, you know what? You can let them rape on your campus. Don't report it, but we're still going to give you $770 million. Like, all of this is just wild. I feel like, we were having this discussion earlier Social media is the worst thing that ever happened to the elite. And I firmly believe that, because you see, back before social media, once upon a time, all we had the option was to listen to the news, read the newspapers, and decide for ourselves, by ourselves, whether or not we were going to agree or not. And you really didn't have a voice. What were you going to do? Call up your girlfriend and talk about it? I mean, where were you going? A lot of us, we weren't journalists or didn't have websites or newspapers or able to write articles. So even if you didn't believe it, you were really held back. Hold on one second, guys. My grandson. Hey, baby. Go ahead. Okay. He's home sick. He had a fever yesterday. You really couldn't communicate what you thought or your beliefs or to call people out. It wasn't available. And now here we are decades later with social media. And I really firmly believe what is going to bring all the corruption down in this country is us. Because now I can go and I can congregate with people all over the world, the UK, Israel, California, wherever. I want to congregate with people who have the same beliefs as me. And I can sit and I can watch and I can scrutinize all of the lies you're telling now. I don't just have to read it in black and white on a paper. Now I can scrutinize everything you're doing, everything you're saying, and I can find other like-minded people that are like, you know what, Ivory, you're right. There's something wrong here. What's going on? They can no longer pull the wool over our eyes. And I really do believe that the public, the viewers of social, of all of this are going to be the ones to take down the corruption in the country. It's got to be that way. But this is not okay. You are literally, you're grooming kids. You are taking vulnerable people who, whether or not they're psychologically vulnerable, spiritually vulnerable, it's just wild to me. And I feel like, how do we let this happen anymore? I really do believe that we at some point have got to be the ones to end the corruption and call them all out. I don't care if you're right or left, Republican, Democrat, red, blue. It doesn't even freaking matter. At the end of the day, Democrats, Republicans, all of them alike, this is all wrong. This is all wrong. And all of this is tied back to Turning Point USA, who I just want to remind people, Austin Smith, who was a leader in Turning Point USA, was charged with voting fraud. Like, think about all of this. They're all literally telling you one thing and hoping you don't answer questions. But because of social media, they're getting called out. They can't get away with it anymore. And so what I'm going to say to that is, people, keep doing your thing. Stop believing just because someone shouts God and Christ that they're good. Because I truly believe that these organizations like Turning Point USA, Liberty University, all of these people who are out there shouting God and acting like they're spiritual faith authorities, bullcrap, because they're all running pedophile rings, trafficking rings, laundering money, hiding money. They're all preying on your lack of skepticism, your vulnerability, and you're the one financing all of this. You follow without asking questions, and you're financing the trafficking rings and all of that. You as people are. So,
girl, you better speak on it. You are freaking preaching facts right now. If y'all haven't been to church in a while, this is church right now. Church is in service. Can I get an amen? Hallelujah.
Listen, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, don't sit there and think for 1 second that because you're questioning these organizations that you're evil, because it's so anti-Christian to question them. The Bible tells us all to question. Well, you can sit there and congregate in some Calvary Baptist church, sitting wherever, or in some, Catholic with a priest sitting there in a little booth while you sit there and relay your sins. That's fine. But I'm going to ask the questions. I'm going to use my Bible as a guide and do what it says. So if you're going to sit there and preach the Bible, preach the part where it's okay to ask the questions. In fact, God invited it and told you to ask the questions, because then you're easily misled into evil. Remember that when you're all sitting here backing these organizations that are tied to. Now, listen, whether you like Candace Owens or not, it doesn't even matter, because she's literally talking truth, though. I have to admit, Candace Owens is talking truth and I back her. It's all scandalous. It's all just, they're playing in your faces using God as the cover, and it's absolutely disgusting. And I'll tell you what, though, I'm going to say this and people are going to come for me, but don't, because again, remember, I'm asking the questions. Does it mean that it's true? No, it's just a question that I have. How did Charlie Kirk run an organization like Turning Point USA that is tied to money laundering and tied to the pedophilia? Again, Calvary Church, Tyler Boyer, Rob McCoy was up there sitting there about the guy who was arrested and literally convicted and served time for raping children, right? You're going to sit there and you're going to back this guy, almighty preacher guy, and you're going to back this guy for the pedophilia. Oh, he was healed. He isn't going to sin anymore. How do you not, Charlie Kirk, know that all of this was going on within your little community, in your business? Now, I know people think Charlie Kirk was some great guy. He was a good guy. He was definitely someone who spoke on his beliefs, and kudos to him. He had passion about it. And, I really do believe that he believed in the Christian way, and good for him. However, he was human, and money really ties into greed. It makes you greedy. Listen, how do you not know that all of these people are in these scandals? How do you not know that you mean to tell me you did all of this research on Bibles and laws and history? He was a big history buff, but you didn't look into your wife whose mother was tied to the DOD and all of this nonsense and really question any of the people around you? Because let me tell you something, I'm like Charlie Kirk in a way, and not in the way that I question everything, right? I like to go down rabbit holes. I investigate. I read a lot. That is what I do. I do that all the time. The first people to get questioned are the people closest to me in my inner circle. Pink, you remember the first time I met you, I questioned you. You know what I mean? Because who am I letting into my inner circle? Who was around me? My husband. I did a deep dive. I knew everything about my husband before the first date. You want to date me? That's fine. But I sure did. You know what I mean? I want to know about your mother. I want to know about your cousins, friends. I know everything because you're in, I am sacred for me. I am sacred. Okay. And so anybody I let close to me, I am going to check it. I only want good around me. And so how did Charlie Kirk not see all of this? Or is the problem that maybe he did start seeing it and that's why he was assassinated? But you don't own a business for that long and not realize Tyler Boyer is sketchy, because how many of us we've known about Tyler Boyer 3 months, and with a little bit of Google, that man is fucking pure evil. Same thing with McCoy, Mikey McCoy, Rob McCoy, that whole thing. You don't know. You know what I mean? So it's really, Charlie was all about questioning everything crazy, how Erica has pretty much made a fool of him. Absolutely. And I agree with that.
I think that there are a lot of people who, they are believers and they are people of faith, but they are lacking spiritual discernment. And, it's like with social media and just everything that we have going on in our world and in our lives, I think it's easy to let the noise of it all kind of distract us from actually being able to tap in and tune into our intuition, or to be divinely guided and to have, a spiritual discernment. And I think it's important for us to remember, no matter what your beliefs are, that it's good to quiet the noise and the distraction and to really tune in and tap into your inner knowing and what you feel, and to really seek truth in the quiet, regardless of your beliefs.
Absolutely. I wish more people would wake up and realize that we don't have to just read the newspaper, watch the news, and have no options. We have options now. And really, I just, like you said, discernment, use it, really think about it. So Kelly, I used to follow a lot of these people. The only way out is discernment. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. Now, I just showed you, I question Charlie sometimes. I'm not going to sit there and act like that guy should walk around with a halo. They put him on some pedestal. He was human. He was a good debater. He had good, he had beliefs. He argued them. You know what I mean? But just part of me questions everybody and everything. I don't put anything past any one of these people, including Charlie, if I'm going to be honest. Doesn't mean I don't like him. It doesn't mean like, oh, I don't want to find out what really happened to him and all of that justice should be brought to light. But it's just, that's a question that you have to ask if you're going to be totally honest with this being an investigation or looking into this situation fairly and honestly. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. And I think just because someone is presenting well and they have a good exterior package that is, pleasing to the eye or pleasing to whatever your moral position is, that alone does not make someone a good person. And, if you consider yourself to be spiritual or you consider yourself to be not just a Bible believer, but I think, it's pretty well understood spiritually throughout a lot of different belief systems that, evil and darkness does not come in the form of that itself. It's going to present to you as something better, something, promising,
godly,
something full of hope,
evil,
something godly, 100%, 100%.
Present as godly. It's going to trick you. It's going to get there and it's going to get you to follow it. It's going to say to you all of the things that you want to hear to make you follow it. So if something, just because it shouts God doesn't mean you should follow it. Like that right there. That's the truth. They are sitting out here being evil with all of this. Why is everybody and everything elite? And I say elite, all tied. Guys, what is up with the children? Like, I can cry right now. I'm really emotional because, listen, if you want to be a Christian, God said protect the children, the innocent, right? Why are they all wanting to touch babies? Like, all of them in some way, shape, or form are tied to harming the little ones, the innocent ones, the ones that had nothing to do with nothing. Like, I don't understand how, you got Romanian Angels, Erica Kirk's organization now. I believe that she was involved with the whole thing, whether or not it was the captain, fine, whatever. But again, he was put up on charges for child sex trafficking. You got Epstein, Trump, all of these people that are you sitting there talking about this law, that law, let's vote this one in. Why are we voting any of them in? Because they're all tied in some way, shape, or form to something so horrible. Liberty University, child sex trafficking rings. They're going after the babies. TPUSA is trying to get into high schools and groom children at 17 years old. I don't care what anybody says. You are still a child. For Christ's sake, at 21, you're still a child. I personally believe. And you don't have the life experience yet to be able to ask the questions. You sit there, you hear, you watch some really pretty angelic Erica Kirk talk on a stage and, oh, I want to be just like her. And then bam, they don't have enough life experience or knowledge to even question any of it. You're in high schools. You're grooming these children for a freaking vote just so you could be more powerful. It's just, don't stay away from the kids. Stay away from the kids.
I know that like your why question is kind of rhetorical, but like historically, and I learned this from my psychologist when I was a teenager and I myself was actually, trying to heal from abuse that happened to me in the church. But historically, the scriptures that were written in regards to, men laying with other men and, scriptures that are now twisted to be in regards to consensual, non-hetero relationships between consenting adults. Historically, those verses were actually written in regards to Roman soldiers that were taking little boys, minor boys, as sex slaves when they were off to war away from their families. And that is historically where the context of that scripture comes from. And historically where I believe this, culture of pedophilia began.
Yeah, man, I agree. It just makes me so angry that nobody sees it. And nobody's going to do anything about it. Like, why are there no investigations? Let's talk to Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk, you back Liberty University. You back all of this. That's your alma mater. What are you going to say about this? Are you going to condone it? Or are you going to speak publicly and talk about how you don't condone what happened to these young girls? You know what I mean? Like, same thing with Trump and what he's been doing and all of these people. Like, you sit there and you support these people, but yet you speak Christianity. I don't understand it. But, you know, you sit there and you publicize how great Liberty University is. And I would love to hear her opinion on all of this whole situation. Because when you go down the rabbit hole, it's fact about the rape on the campus and the people being discouraged to report it. That's a fact. There were lawsuits about it. That's not something that anybody just made up. Like, what do you have to say about your school there, Erica Kirk, that you're out there pushing for people? Oh, go ahead. Liberty University, it's a Christian organization. Go to campus, get raped, but don't talk about it. That's what you're pushing out there, Erica Kirk? Miss Holier Than Thou, spiritual moral authority? Make it make sense. And again, it's the victim shaming. It's the victims are always the problem. No, how about you are all the problem? You're funding Liberty University. You're taking money. They built the Charlie Kirk building down there, and people actually, the students went against it and were like, we don't want to be groomed. You know what I mean? Like, red flag. And this was years ago. So don't tell me Charlie Kirk didn't know any of this information. Liberty University has been out a very long time. People have been calling Liberty University out for a very long time. Liberty University, who's also been funded by the elite of other countries. Think about that too. Like, it is not, your government is not Trump, Biden, this party, that party. The government of the world is the elites. It's the Trumps, the Putins, the Bibi Netanyahus, the all of them.
That part.
That's all a social society that is trying to take us as a world collectively and screw us all over. None of them care about none of us. That's the problem. And what gave them the power? Well, we did. Because we were blind sheep who just simply followed and said, you know what, you're pretty or it sounds good. Yeah, I'm all for it. And now, again, like I said, I do believe that social media and the fact that we have access to each other to congregate and really use our discernment and be skeptical and ask the questions out loud where they can't help but see us, that's going to be what breaks the society of these elite world leaders down. Because it's so much bigger than the United States. It's so much bigger than you guys all think. It has nothing new. There's nobody voting and saying, you know what, this one won in a fair vote. None of that is happening. None of it is happening. And that's the problem.
I agree. And I feel like at this point, it's like, you know, just as much as it's a civic duty to vote, whatever the hell that means at this point, we have now a civic duty to document, to speak truth, to ask questions, and to utilize social media to our absolute full advantage to, you know, seek truth and have understanding.
You have a duty to speak up. Why is nobody, if all of these people, these multi-million-dollar organizations, Turning Point USA, Liberty University, Calvary, these mega churches, have nothing to hide, then answer the goddamn questions. Let's put them on the spot and say, we want answers. You're using our tax money to fund your companies, your charities, all of this. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And we have a duty to speak up. And if you don't, then you deserve everything you get at the end of the day. I'm just saying. Leave the children. Why are 13-year-olds being sent to a house mother to give birth in the middle of the night and then get kicked out and have no paperwork was given? No paperwork was given to this young girl when she was kicked out in the middle of the night after she supposedly lost her baby that you wanted her to put up for adoption. And the second she told you she wants to keep the baby, all of a sudden it died. I'm literally, Pink, I'm ready to drive up there to this house, whatever the hell this house is. I'm ready to drive up there and be like, I would like access to your records. Where are your records? Where is the
I'm down to go ask questions.
Death certificates are public record. Can I see this child's death certificate? Whoever called Candace Owens, I hope she knows you want that death certificate. They have to have one. They have to have one. They have to, you don't sit there. The second you break out an ultrasound machine and you deliver a baby, you're doing medical work. You better have something that says what happened that night. And I did look into this guy's daughter who is, what hospital was she in?
I was just going to say that.
She
That's
is
where we need
a
to find the
medical
connection.
director. I believe she's a surgical director in Richmond. What hospital's up in Richmond?
VCU?
No, I don't think so. I think it was VCU. Is there a
We need to
Richmond?
connect her to that house. That's the deep dive.
What, the one her father owns? I'm sure that's not going to be too hard.
But we need to connect her as an employee there during that time frame.
Yeah, I would love to see her LinkedIn. Someone should go look at her LinkedIn.
What is her name?
But gosh, I had it before and I can't.
Can anybody in the chat Google that? Jerry Falwell Sr.'s daughter, who's a physician.
Sorry, someone's outside. That's weird. Jeannie, a surgeon.
A surgeon at
Jeannie
that.
is a surgeon.
A
Jerry
freaking
Falwell's
surgeon.
daughter, Jeannie F. Savas, is a surgeon. What hospital? I knew the hospital this morning. She is a surgeon, Jeannie Falwell. Alumni named chief of surgery at Virginia Hospital. Hold on. And this is on the Liberty University. Liberty University alum Dr. Jeannie Falwell Savas has been named chief of surgery at Hunter Holmes McGuire Virginia Medical Center in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, that's just a quick little road trip.
Her among the only handful of women in the country to hold this leadership position. Well, I'm really curious if Jeannie was there or knew about it. And is this facility, what is the name of the facility? I want to know if this facility actually runs as a medical facility. Don't be sitting there delivering babies and not call yourself an actual medical facility.
Can you freaking, I mean, this is literally, it's giving like American Horror Story. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's reminding me of, what was the season? Asylum. Remember when the investigator went undercover into the psych ward? Like, this is what that's reminding me of. Like, they were trapping these young girls in this freaking house of horrors to what? Cut them open and steal their freaking babies? Like,
and you know what's even crazy is that it was the government that did that, put that woman in that facility. It was either go to juvie or go to this place.
Right. So who investigates these serious, sex crimes against children when our own government is involved? Then, like, who do we turn to? Like, it's literally us. Like, we're the only ones that can get to the bottom of this because nobody's going to fucking be honest. Not the church, not the government, not the media. Nope.
What is the name of that house that she was at? Do you guys remember?
I thought you said it was Hope House.
Was it Hope House or?
I don't know. Rewind the video back.
Yeah, hold on.
In a bit of trouble.
I'm about to reveal a snoring fix that most women over 40 don't know. This is what your throat looks like when you're snoring.
Listen, snoring, there's a
trouble.
lot.
She wound up with a probation officer, and she also got pregnant, and they essentially told her, hey, you're either going to get your life together, sort of this ultimatum. We could send you to juvie, or you could go away and we'll give you an opportunity here. There's this amazing new program that's being run out of Liberty University, which helps troubled teens, which you are a troubled teen. She was 13 at this time. So obviously they made the decision for her to take the option. It's like when the judge says, hey, you can go to rehab or you can go to prison. Obviously, I'm going to go to rehab. So she chose to go down to Lynchburg, Virginia, while she was pregnant, to live in a house with other troubled girls who were being helped through a program that was known as the Godparent Program.
That's it.
It still is a thing today.
Hold on. Let's look this up. The Godparent Program.
Dude, can I just say troubled teen anything is a red freaking flag. And I hope that in 2026, we understand that as a society. Like, please, for the love of God, don't ship your freaking teenager off to some kind of internment camp where they're going to be abused. Like, let's stop doing that.
Liberty Godparent Home is a prominent faith-based residential program in Lynchburg, Virginia for single pregnant women and new mothers, typically aged 12 to 21. The program is a ministry of the Liberty Godparent Foundation, which is a partner to the adoption agency Family Life Services. So this same Let Me Deliver Your Baby is also partnered up with an adoption agency, which makes complete sense that they promised this baby to somebody. This woman decided, or this child at the time decided that I don't want to give my baby up, but we already got the payment and promised it to that woman. Like,
It's just a human trafficking organization done tax-free under a church name, essentially.
so it says that their services provide housing, educational support, medical care assistance, counseling, and life skills training to help residents make parenting or adoption plan. Where was the counseling that this woman got? She was 13 years old and got kicked out in the middle of the night and had her mother had to come get her. Where was the counseling they provided her? That's what I want to know. Controversy. The home has faced allegations of coercion and manipulation, and they did. So she goes on, and I'll show that in a minute. There's another podcast out there that literally calls out this program. But the controversy, the home has faced allegations of coercion and manipulation regarding adoption choices, as detailed in a recent podcast, Liberty Lost. Some former residents report feeling pressured to place their babies for adoption, while others shared positive experiences of support. That's crazy.
Well, I know what my new podcast is that I'm going to be binge watching.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people, educate yourselves. Don't just follow these people blindly. And all of this can tie back to Turning Point USA and all of these elite leaders. It's just everything is one full circle. It's all, you know what I mean? Like, there is no, oh, it's the Democrats that are really for you. It's none of them. It's all of them in this secret society. And that's really what it's ultimately just about, power and money. That's the game, is just screw them all. It's about power and money. It's just absolutely crazy to me. I was so disturbed when I heard that last night. And I was originally going to stream it live and then comment on it as we watched it live together. And I'm so glad I didn't, because if I had heard that originally and really reacted to that live, I would have said an awful lot of horrible things. I would have been canceled. I would have been done, because the stuff that was coming out of my mouth, the anger, man, I think it triggered me. That's just wild.
I get that. And I think what stuck out for me most about what the victim was saying to Candace, her statement in the beginning where she said, she started to talk about, getting pregnant at that age. And she said, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And, to me, I resonated with that lifelong feeling of shame after being victimized, that shame, it never goes away. And it's so sad, because for a lot of people, that shame leads to drug abuse or alcoholism or suicide or the inability to function, literally. You know what I mean? I mean, that stigma of shame, of being blamed at a young age for something that the adults around you should have been protecting you from, that shame and that stigma is a lifelong feeling that victims carry with them forever. And it's something that, you know, in different ways, you have to continuously face throughout the rest of your life.
Yeah, that right there. I mean, I don't even know. My heart is broken for anybody who's been victimized by these people, whether elite, big or small, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just so sad. I don't even know what to say to that. It's just to take advantage of people and children nonetheless, and in the name of God, and then you're out there preaching how horrible it is, and then you're doing it to these kids who, let's be real, like, you know, these religious leaders and these teachers and these they're supposed to be the trusted individuals in the community for a child, right? And then you go and you take that trust that we condition them to have, because we teach our children, you go, the police are good, priests are good, teachers are good, and that's who you can trust. And then we condition our children to trust these people, and then they do, and then the unthinkable happens to them. And I don't know. Man.
I'm with you, girl. It's a lot. There's a lot of feelings about all of this. For me, I could talk about this all day.
I know. Man, it just makes me so angry. It should make everybody angry. Every single one of you should be pissed the hell off and should be asking questions and should be calling them out. Why is it okay? Why are these people not being investigated? Why are these people not being arrested? Why are we okay with brothels and trafficking rings and all of this? You know what I mean? And just an FYI, I do believe, isn't this like Sex Trafficking Awareness Month? I just want to put that out there. So, I mean, start asking the damn questions, like orphanages and all these nonprofit organizations that came to be Christian organizations, and they're making top dollar while they're out screwing little kids. I don't even know what to say. It makes me so angry. It makes me so
And
angry.
like, speak up. If I
it.
can like make any point clear here today, like if you see something, say something.
Please.
I don't care how minuscule you might possibly think that it could be, but you have an obligation as an adult to protect, you know, the children around you. I don't care if you're their parent. I don't care if you're their neighbor. I don't care if they go to your kid's school. Like, if something weird is going on, you think that that child is in danger, you think that there's an adult in their life that is unsafe for them, that they feel uncomfortable around, like, get people involved, say something, you know, keep an eye on that child, because 9 times out of 10, there are people in that child's life that are aware of something going on, that are not going to say something because they don't want to cause a disturbance. They don't want to point a finger at somebody. They don't want to be involved, you know? And I think that's a big problem with our society, is we are so quick to like not want to be involved, not want to get in somebody else's business. We turn a blind eye to something. You know, we see it on social media all the time. People would rather record you know, something happening to someone rather than put the phone down and step in and get involved and protect somebody or call for an emergency services. You know, like, be aware of your surroundings and help protect people. Like, we are all each other has, literally. You know, clearly the government's not protecting us. Clearly, you know, the institutions of spirituality are not protecting us. Like, we have to look out for one another, human being to human being, period.
Yeah. Lisa Conquer Life over on TikTok, and I believe she's over here on YouTube. I just want to put this out there, just if you want some information. She has been covering the whole sex trafficking awareness thing for this month. She was going through red flags, what to look out for. She's actually a very good source of information. You also go check her out just in case. But we really got to protect each other, because they're not going to protect us. We need to protect our children. You know, your children, my children, all of our, you know, if we don't look out for each other, they're not doing it. None of them. I don't care what anybody says. And so, I don't know. It's just wild. When I was watching Candace Owens, though, I also wanted to bring this up. She said something that really struck me as odd. In the beginning of the podcast, she was talking about how, do you remember them talking about his security that day and how they were trying to blame the police for not having the roof covered and, blah, 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 and how they plan and go through these apps and all of the planning for Charlie Kirk's security is detailed out and played out. Multiple people play a hand in it. But she also let out the fact that he had a scheduled event at another campus the next day on the 11th, and there was no security scheduled for that day at all. Almost like they knew that he didn't need security for the 11th because he wasn't going to be there. There was absolutely no security set up for him.
That's chilling.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Isn't that crazy? Because I guess the campus that was supposed to have him come and speak after his assassination, after they saw what happened to him, they decided to make it like a memorial, a vigil. But there was no security set up for him having been there. Nothing. Almost like they knew he didn't need it for the 11th.
Almost like his security on the 10th was allegedly somehow involved.
Well, they were sitting there blaming the police for not having the building checked. Like, how do you rooftops? I know nothing about. I watch enough TV to know that if you're going to sit there and be security for anybody, you always check the rooftops. I watch enough CIA and Criminal Minds and all of these shows that even I, as a layperson who knows nothing about securing people and agents and all that, knows you always check the fucking rooftops. Like, for real?
Well, what was the other shooting that we as a country experienced before that the shooter was also on a rooftop? That was like another recent shooting, wasn't it?
Yeah. Who?
There's been so many. I literally can't even, it's all blurring together.
So, which is why, like, rooftops, like, you always check the rooftops. I don't know. It's crazy to me. All of this stuff that she's coming out with now. Erica Kirk, Turning Point USA, all of these damn people, all of the supporters can sit there and say whatever you want about the things being said and the questions being asked. And you can all sit there and say, well, I'm going to stay silent because it's not worth my time. However, I really suggest you all start speaking. Because we as the public, you're all going to stand up on stage and be political authority, religious authority, you running charity organizations, and, we have the right to ask. I want answers. I want answers. Like this, you mean to tell me that this kid just decided last minute that he was going to hop up on a roof with this gun and all of a sudden point blank accuracy, get him in a jugular, and had no help. And I mean, assassins can't do that. Actual paid assassins can't get that targeted. Like it none of it makes any sense. And then you're crazy for asking the questions. The problem is we spent years and years and years not asking the questions out loud. And now we have social media at our fingertips where we can ask the questions loud. And so I just want to put out there again, guys, ask the questions loud. Y'all know once I start talking, you can't shut me up. It's wild. I'm going to ask the questions.
Well, I think on the other hand, with social media
Trump shooter
too.
was on a rooftop, Hollow Mom. Yes.
Who was it? Which one?
Trump shooter. His whole ear thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And let's be real. I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
Does anybody else believe that really happens? Like, first of all, if I missed and got your ear, I'm going to jail. They're going to find me anyway. I'm going to shoot again. I would have just taken a second shot if I missed you the first time. Like, you just shot his ear. Like, that whole thing was wild. I feel like that was a show too, in my opinion.
Dude, I feel like everything is smoke and mirrors at this point. Like, and we're just like the idiots that are sitting here clapping for the clowns and eating freaking cotton candy at the show. Like, we have to be smarter than that. Like, we cannot be so easily freaking fooled.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know. I think I'm going to end this live, though. I just wanted to come on here and bring that to everybody's attention because that phone call really broke my heart. It makes me angry. And so I'm going to call these people out, call them out, guys, ask the questions. They all need to be brought to light. All of this, protect the children. That girl was a child. She had a child. Protect the children, protect each other, because like I said, they're not going to do it. But I really did emotionally get affected by Candace's live last night. And so I just wanted to share that. So if you guys haven't watched her entire live, go over there, give it a watch. Maybe we'll stream it later and watch the entire thing and really put some commentary and give our thoughts. People can come up and give their thoughts. Maybe we'll do that later. That sounds like it might be some fun. But guys, thank you so much for being here. I will be back on later. Pink, thank you so much. Everybody in the chat.
Thanks for having me. Thanks,
Nancy,
chat.
Holla Mom. Thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys later.